All right, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll go ahead and get started with questions for Connor. We don't have a moderator, so if you guys want to go ahead and just chime in, or actually I can just do it from the side. Steve, we'll let you go ahead and start.
Hi, Connor. What kind of challenge do you expect from this Duquesne team tomorrow?
Yeah, I think being in the A10 is a great conference, so I think they'll be a very good team. They rebound the ball really well, so I think that'll be a challenge for us to get them off the glass. Trying to limit them to one shot. And they got some really good guards too that can, shoot, and they got the confidence to take a lot of, deep shots too. So I think we got to be ready there for sure.
John.
Hey Connor, starting the season off 3-0, what's the obviously the team's in a good spot right now. What's the vibe like in the locker room? What are you guys feeling?
Oh yeah, we're feeling good. I think we're feeling confident, but as Coach Holt actually talked about today, like we don't want to get arrogant or thinking we've proven ourselves or earned respect back. Like we want to keep going every day with the same approach. So yeah, definitely upbeat and confident, but I think we're still attacking every day and every game the same.
Nick.
Connor, you had 3 points on Monday night, but you were a plus 36. Can you talk about what was just working so well and how much pride you take in on the defensive side of the floor?
Yeah, I think that's like my favorite thing about basketball is playing defense. So it's just something that I've always had, but I think that's something that can get us going. That defensive energy. I think Layden and some of our other guards do a really good job of that as well. So yeah, just doing that, and then offensively, just I like seeing other guys get shots and let them eat. So definitely a passing the ball there.
Joey.
Hey,
Connor,
Jake. Kind of 3 games into the season here. What's it just been like playing with these group of guys so far?
It's been really awesome. It's been super fun. Honestly, like our chemistry's gotten better quicker than I thought, which has been nice. Maybe you guys can tell out there in the court too. So it's been great. I think we're meshing really well, and it's a very just good vibes on the team. Whether even stuff goes wrong, I think we're great together.
Mike.
Yeah, hey, hi Connor. This is Mike McGraw from the Daily Herald. I wanted to ask you a little bit about what it was like to go through the transfer portal when, especially coming off that big finish with Drake you had last year. Do you think that made it easier to make your decision because you had accomplished something there, or was it tougher to leave after, such a momentous ending?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. Like it definitely helped because I think having that wins and accomplishing that gave me a little edge in the transfer portal and kind of showed I could be a part of that and contribute to winning. But it was definitely hard just because Drake with all I've been there, was committed there when I was 16, so like being there for so long is definitely bittersweet. But with coaches and players leaving, just kind of felt like the right chance to get to come home and come play at DePaul.
So was it tough at all telling people that you were going to leave?
Yeah, but because our coaches had left, it wasn't as big of a like, hey, coach, I'm gonna enter the portal and leave you. Like it was like kind of expected almost, just to weigh my options. And then once I did, it was definitely tough leaving friends behind and fans that I really got to know. But they understood. Like I think they coming close to home, his family's important to me, so they saw that.
So did you have this place in mind when you entered the portal, or were you open to a lot of stuff?
I was open to a lot. Honestly, yeah. I just didn't want to go like super far, like California or anything. But when DePaul came up, definitely caught my eye for sure right away.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody else who said that like when she put her name in the portal, within 5 minutes she was getting texts from other schools. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it was that first day. I feel like I had 30 phone calls. I thought it was going to be really cool, and then I actually kind of hated it. It's really stressful. Like it adds up. And I kind of realized I had to start telling schools like, no, like I'm not gonna go there. Like just being straight up, don't waste their time. But yeah, I was very happy to commit and get out of the portal because it was too much.
Did you visit any places?
I visited West Virginia and DePaul, and then some other schools. I was talking to Davidson, but I had previously visited them in high school, so I didn't feel the need to visit there again.
And what was it like to come in? You guys have pretty much a completely new team this year. What was it like for to walk in like this? Like it's like I don't know. Probably there's nothing to compare to it in basketball besides like a pickup game, 12 people that have never met before.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely weird, but I think the one thing we did have was like at least with me, like I played against NJ, Isaiah and Troy before, and I've known Troy since I was, 7. So playing against him in AAU and stuff. So there was a little connection there, but yeah, I think it was important for us just hanging out in the summer because we meet 13, 12 new guys. It's just like we got to get to know each other.
Did you guys, did you plan like outings or anything to help with that?
We Coach Holtman actually had us at his house a couple times. And then we all live in the same like apartment complex. So we just, text after practice or like, what are you guys doing today? Or whether it was just, a couple of us playing video games. We pretty competitive on the 2K and the NCAA football video games. So I think that helps us bond together a little bit.
And then how do you like being back in the city?
It's awesome. I got a lot of cousins that live down here. And I can go home. I went home yesterday, 2 days ago, for my mom's birthday. So it's just like doing little things like that is I definitely appreciate because I couldn't do that before.
Okay, I'm all set. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Andy.
Connor, I think the other night you drew 4 offensive fouls, and I presume that's something you pride yourself on. Is that something you've kind of worked on being able to be strong at over the years?
Yeah, it kind of just comes naturally almost, I feel like, but yeah, I've definitely grown to work on it. I've also tried to cut down on necessarily like I know refs have told me, stop flopping or stuff like that, but I feel like if I can get a guy to, extend his arm or run me over with his shoulder, I'm gonna try and take that. But yeah, I got to pick and choose my spots, I think, because I'm not trying to or trick anybody or anything, but I think trying to take those charges can be a momentum turner for sure.
Nick.
Connor, you mentioned practice. How does one practice taking a charge? Like, how does one practice drawing an offensive foul? Because, like, to most people, that seems like a weird thing to practice. So, how do you practice it?
Well, I will say I don't practice it in practice. I've learned that since I've been taking probably charges since I was 15, 16, it hurts sometimes, especially when you don't take them the right way. And those add up. So in practice, you won't see me taking a single charge. But I think just, yeah, like honestly, like I said, I've been taking them since I was 15, 16. So years of like learning, how to get into the right spot. Like when guys bump you, when to do it. But yeah, it's kind of hit or miss, I guess. I wouldn't suggest practicing it though. You might get hurt.
Ryan.
Hey, Connor, Chris told us before the season that you were one of the guards that he looked up to most on the team. How much have you worked with Chris, and what are some of the things that you guys maybe have worked on together, or things that you've learned from him as well? Just him being a really impressive freshman guard.
Yeah, Chris does not look like a freshman. He looks like he should be a fifth-year senior with how strong he is. But yeah, like he's come in, he's willing to learn and stuff. I think that's the most important. I've just been trying to work with him. Like you're gonna have days where it's really hard mentally and physically, because you haven't done this at the college level. So you just like trying to stay focused every day. And then when you're a freshman, you mess up a lot. So I think just like trying to get him to be like next play, like it's okay, like dude, you're gonna get better. Like it's good to make mistakes, and I think keeping that mindset has been what I've been trying to preach to him, and he's done a really good job of receiving that.
John.
Hey Connor, what's the experience been like from the players' perspective, like fan interaction, things like that, and what would you like to say to fans that may have not come out to games yet?
Yeah, I would say the experience has been good so far. Like the people that are there showing up and on social media, like we appreciate like the love and all. Like that's awesome. Like it's been super cool seeing DePaul getting some more buzz. Um, and then just for fans that haven't showed up yet, like I think like we're a really fun team to watch. We're a really together team. Like you're gonna just see like great basketball. So I think that's like something that maybe you haven't seen with DePaul in a little while, and a team that's super unselfish and just plays with joy. But yeah, like it's been awesome so far, and I think it'll just keep growing each game with the fans.
And then one last thing. You guys have been, it's been very intentional on your offensive game plan, shooting a lot of outside threes and really no mid range at all. Has that been basically the mantra since coming into, I'll call it training camp, uh, from the coaching staff?
Yeah, I mean, we just think, obviously you're gonna have to shoot some of those mid-range twos, some of those tougher twos, but like if you're taking a mid-range two at 20 seconds on the shot clock, we know we can work that ball around and maybe get a wide open three. So down on the shot clock, we think some of those twos are going to be good. But yeah, the coaches have been preaching, like let's try and get our team's best shot every single time down. And that either probably is going to end up being an open three, hopefully, or a layup.
Thanks, Connor.
You're welcome.
Joey?
Connor, last year you played against Isaiah twice. Connor, what's it been like watching him, next to you on the court and being his teammate now?
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome. I think I can't remember how many points he had when we played him, but he had a lot, and so having him on my team has been good. A guy can pass to it and knock it down, so it's been really fun. I know I haven't known him for that long, but it feels like when we're playing together, I've known him for a couple of years, so it's kind of goes with how good our chemistry's been getting.
Andy?
Connor, you talk about how good the chemistry's been getting, and we've been able to see it from our perspective, especially with you and some of the front court guys like NJ and JJ. How much fun has it been for you guys kind of being able to find each other where you can just lob it up to them as much as you've been?
Yeah, this is the most lobs I've ever thrown in my life in these 3 games. So hopefully that continues. But it's my job's easy. Like those guys are going up and getting it. It's a hard target to miss. So it's been fun. And we got a good mix. With NJ and JJ can go up and get it, and then you got Skogman that can pick and pop. So I think we're very versatile with that front court, and it's been awesome to have.
All right. Anything else for Connor? All right. We'll have Coach here in a second.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Connor.
Thanks.
All right, everyone. We have Coach on here now. So I will, if you guys will go ahead and raise your hand, we will get started. Nick?
Chris, you're one of 39 teams in Division One with half of your shot attempts from three. I understand it's only been 3 games and it's a relatively small sample size given the whole season, but is that something that you think is sustainable for a full season?
Yeah, I don't know if that number, Nick, is going to hold when you look at, you know, past seasons. That would be a extraordinarily high number for, for all of college basketball. So, I've made it clear, in terms of how we want to play, that's going to be a big part of our offense. I kind of have a number in my head that I think we should average at the end of the year. And I don't necessarily want to give that number, but I do have a number a percentage wise that I want to hit. And I think if we do that, it's going to be, I think we'll be in the top 20 in the country probably in 3-point rate, which is what I envision, a good place for us to be. I think you're seeing a little bit of, the early season, as you mentioned, 3-game stretch where you see how many teams shooting over half their shots, 30 or 40 or whatever. That's a really large number.
Ryan?
Coach, we saw the news today about Isaiah Medina officially signing with the team. What are some of the things that he can bring? You said obviously that he's a versatile 7-footer. But when it comes to the defensive end, you told us that interior defense was something that you saw needed a lot of improvement. What does he bring to that? And then some other things that you see from him next year?
Really excited about Isaiah. He's got good size, good skill. He's an evolving and growing player. I don't think we look at him as, an elite rim protector yet. I think he can get to that point in his career, but I wouldn't say he's quite there yet. I don't, I think sometimes that's a skill that it's like rebounding. It usually translates, and I think he's been a good rim protector, but in terms of a shot blocker, that's not necessarily been who he is. What we're excited, and the reason we're really excited about Isaiah is you look at him, he's growing as a player, he's improving. Um, he's a 7-footer who can pass, he can make open threes, and I think he plays hard. He really loves to play. And I think a guy like that, you have a real shot of getting better and better. And we're really excited about him. We are super excited about him. And I think we should have, more news on our signees here at the end of the week. But we're super excited about Isaiah. Can't wait to get him here.
Joey?
Hey, Coach. I know we talked about Connor a little bit after Monday's game, but what's it like to have a player like that? Someone who can control the offense, but also just is willing to put his body on the line on the defensive end.
I think he's a young man that I obviously feel really good about in terms of his competitiveness and what he brings on that end first and foremost. I think you look at him and guys like Layden, they're really competitive players, and you love that as a coach. He's got a great knack for moving his feet and anticipating, and we've really challenged him to make sure all the plays where he slides his feet are legit. He gets there first, and it's a legit charge that he takes, because if you don't do that, sometimes you can get a reputation. But he's been an outstanding leader for this group, and I think he'll continue to be that here this year. And I think he and Layden play really well together, and Layden and our other guys play well together. So it's a nice compliment. You might say it's a little bit of a smaller backcourt, and I guess at times it can be, but I think those guys make up with it with their motor.
Andy?
Coach, I got two quick ones for you. First one is obviously, you've only played 3 games so far. You've got kind of a small sample size, but with having 13 new guys and, kind of having to watch it all come together, what surprised you most about this team so far?
Andy, I think as much as anything, you're not sure what to expect. I think you look all over college basketball, and these early games are tricky. And obviously, the competition is elevated significantly on Friday. As you guys know, it's an A10 school that had a terrific year last year, that has several returning players in Duquesne. They're well coached. They play exceptionally hard. They're really physical on the ball defensively, and they've got really good shooting. So it's going to be, clearly the biggest test we've had up to this point, going against this Duquesne team. I think in terms of surprising, I think we've been a group right now that has, played connected basketball for some significant minutes of each game. Not nearly a complete game, not what we want and what we need, but I do think there's been a good connectedness on offense and defense in terms of our ball movement offensively, and our defense has improved the last 2 games. And like I said, our greatest test is going to be here moving into Friday's game.
And then last one from me. Obviously, he was able to go back into the game, so it probably wasn't too serious. But how's NJ's eye doing after what happened to him on against Mercer?
Yeah, the swelling went down, which was good. So it was good to see him kind of look better. The next day, obviously had the day off, but he should be fine. Yeah, he looks much better than what he did the other night.
Nick?
Chris, more of a big picture question. Last week, you guys announced that Suku and Nate were going to redshirt. Can you kind of talk us through those conversations and what that process was like?
Yeah, no, I think some of it was just, you look at our roster, and, Nate kind of came to me and suggested it, and I was all for it. I just love kind of what Nate has brought to this group. I really do. And, excuse me, I just think, he brings a great energy and, focus and practice every day. and he's gotten better himself too. But he came here understanding his role in practice was going to be a significant one in terms of the scout team. Saku, I think, has been more. We just kind of wanted to see where he was at, where Koo was at here through the early part of practices in summer, and I think for him it was just really in the best interest of him to redshirt, and that's why we made the decision. And he thought about it for a day and decided that he was definitely on board with that. So both kids are great kids, and we're excited to have them.
From the staff perspective, and just in terms of philosophy on red shirts, with the NCAA upping scholarship spots to 15, I believe, starting next season, did that have any impact on the decision about the red shirts at all?
Not necessarily. No, not necessarily, because I think you just take it kind of 1 year at a time. But I know your question. It's a good one. I just not necessarily. So we just thought it was at this point in the best interest of Koo, and like I said, Nate kind of suggested it, and we were on board.
John?
Hey, Coach. Excuse me. If you guys keep up this pace of offensive rating and defensive rating that you guys are at for the year, you'd finish in the top 87th percentile of all of college basketball. How do you keep up the intensity as these games get a little bit more harder, more difficult opponents? And how do you guys keep that focus during practice and then heading into the games?
Yeah, I think it's right now, John, it's really just about, us improving in practice. We do have a specific style of play that we want to play on both ends, but certainly offensively. We want to play with great pace. We want to be able to spread the floor. We want to play a style of basketball that's effective for the team that we have, but also that is modern and that has a degree of enjoyment when you watch it too. What you're looking for most importantly is that it's effective offensively. But I think given our roster construction, we feel like this is the best. Now, again, we're playing the best defense we've played here on Friday. Last year, they were 35th in the country in defensive efficiency, or 31, I think. So the challenge is going to be, moving forward, doing that consistently against, like we talked about, an outstanding Duquesne defense. But we have a really specific style of play that we want to have on both ends. And we're just trying to build towards that, John, every practice and every game.
Thanks, Coach.
Ray, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, Coach. Good afternoon. Ray Schaefer, Link NKY down here in Covington, Kentucky. What's Jacob Meyer's biggest contribution been so far?
Yeah, how did I know that question was going to come there from Covington? I appreciate you asking it. It's Jacob has been really good in a lot of ways. And I think he's a young man that is getting better with each passing day. And I know you look at that and you say, well, the opening night was a
20,
really
and that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a really big one for him. I think, my challenge for young players is when you have kind of that moment in early in your time, it's phenomenal, but you don't want that to be the peak. You want to keep building and knowing there's not going to be nights where he scores it like that. But he was obviously critical in that game throughout the game for us. His attention to detail defensively has improved. The areas that I think we've challenged him with to be more of a complete player, he's growing in, which is exciting. But Jacob's a really gifted offensive player. He really is. And I think it's something that it's going to be important for our group.
When he went into the portal from Coastal, did you think you had a chance to get him?
Sure. Yeah. No, we did. Obviously I'm from Kentucky, but we just liked his game and I've coached guys like that who have an ability to score the ball and who wired that way. And again, we looked at him we saw, strengths and some challenges for him too, that some areas that he needed to improve in. So it was good to see all that footage. But, yeah, we did feel confident that, I think the Big East would fit him. And I think he was excited about this opportunity.
Oh, I didn't know you were from Kentucky. What part?
I grew up in Lexington.
Okay.
I was born in Cincinnati, right, obviously Covington area.
What neighborhood in Cincinnati? I grew up in Blue.
Yeah. My parents grew up in is it Mount Olive and Mount Adams a little bit too, I think.
Mount Adams, Mount Auburn.
Yeah, Mount Auburn, maybe. Yes.
That's the thing about Cincinnati people. Everything right after you introduce yourself, it's what high school. So
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Purcell for my mom, I believe. Purcell.
I think. So Purcell Marion. So she's a hackberry assassin.
I guess. Yes.
So okay. Well, that's all. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, sir.
Sure thing. Yeah. Appreciate you being on.
Okay. Yeah.
Nick,
Yep.
go ahead.
Chris, I'm curious your philosophy. There's so many advanced analytical numbers kind of out there. You can pretty much have a number for whatever stat you want. It's out there somewhere. How do you kind of balance using analytics, but also using like the gut feel in terms of like lineups, playing time, like that kind of stuff, and like decision making as a whole?
Yeah, it can be information overwhelming. It can be information overload, for sure, Nick. I think there is so many different metric based systems, and I think you can just get overwhelmed with the numbers. So we have a couple specific ones that we use. I'm big Ken Palm guy, Ken Pomeroy. So that's a big part of what I've done. We do have a couple other companies that we work with that are very good, we feel like, and helpful, HDI being one of them. And we'll try to look at stuff that we think meets that we feel like really educates us on both the opposition and our play, and kind of limit it to that. Now my staff, they might dive in a little more detail in terms of more numbers as they're prepping for opponents. But I would consider myself more of an analytics guy than not an analytics guy. I do believe in the value of them when it comes to basketball. I don't think I'm driven by them in terms of completely how we do things, but they are very important to us, and they have informed how we want to play offensively and defensively for sure.
Ryan?
Coach, it's been interesting to watch your support staff and coaches interact on the sidelines. And one of the most vocal to the players on the court has been Jack Owens. I'm just curious kind of what his role is during games and what he's specifically saying to players during, side outs and inbounds.
Well, Jack's been an assistant, that I've leaned on heavily, since we took the job, and, we're now going into our third year together. He was, Matt Painter's right-hand man for years at Purdue, and obviously was a head coach. He's really got a great feel for offensive and defensive basketball, and he also has a great feel for what winning looks like. He really does. Jack's a terrific coach. So he handles, though, all of our personnel and our matchups. So that's probably why you see him, up so often on the bench and talking through things.
All right. Is there anything else for Coach? Sounds good. Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks
Coach.
guys. Appreciate you being
Thanks,
on.
Coach.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Coach.